As you've seen in the previous videos, we've talked about mitochondria multiple times. So today we're going to take a closer look into the mighty mitochondria, what they do, what affects them, and how to heal them. They're absolutely critical to your overall health, and without them, you'd be no bigger than bacteria. Scientists have found that they are in every single cell of your body. That's 37.2 trillion to be exact. And each cell can have more than one mitochondria. The only exception to this rule is with the red blood cells, as they do not contain any mitochondria. It takes a lot of different cellular processes to keep us alive and well, and the mitochondria are at the core of it all. The mitochondrion is the most famously known for its role in generating energy for the cells and for the body. And they are commonly referred to as the powerhouse of the cell because they're like little batteries for your cells. But this is not like some common single-celled ordinary household battery. Oh no, your mitochondria, they are high-class batteries like a Tesla battery you'd find in an electric car. So what does this mean? One mitochondria, just like Tesla car batteries, is like a bunch of teeny tiny little batteries or units racked and stacked to generate bioelectric energy like an array. This helps to manage energy safely and provide access to high current, aka speed for the car or energy for your body. So if one teeny tiny unit in the Tesla battery gets damaged or a section in the mitochondria gets damaged, they will still be able to generate energy without the entire cell or battery failing. It's like a redundant failsafe your body has provided to protect you, ensuring health, energy, and longevity to your mitochondria. Each mitochondria has approximately 1.4 volts of energy. Multiply that by the sheer number of cells and amount of mitochondria in each cell, and that's a giant amount of energy. And all that energy goes into keeping you alive and well. Pretty cool, right? But in order to make that energy, the mitochondria, it has to perform a process called cellular respiration. This process is like a digestive system for the cells. It's designed to break down carbohydrates and fatty acids, like sugars, fats, and proteins, that we eat into chemical energy called ATP. It produces 90% of the chemical energy that cells need to live. It goes through this fancy, complicated process using glycolysis, which goes to the Krebs cycle, and then the electron transport chain in order to do it, which also, technically, all happens simultaneously. But to break down all this sciencey gobbledygook and sum it up in an easy-to-understand way, when you eat food, your gut digests it and turns it into vitamins and nutrients for the body so that you have more energy. Nutrition equals more energy, right? Well, the mitochondria does the exact same thing. That nutrition you ate that your gut digested and absorbed, the cell and mitochondria take in those nutrients that are from fat, protein, and carbs and uses that to turn it into energy, called ATP. This is the energy you feel every day. So as you can see, it's not just your gut absorbing nutrients to give you energy. The mitochondria has to convert it first. So if there isn't any energy, like nutrition to feed it, or it starts taking on damage from poor nutrition, serious illness like a virus or infection, lack of exercise, too much stress, lack of oxygen, like during a heart attack or stroke, the cells cannot live. You can start to see just how important mitochondria is to your health. Mitochondria can only be inherited by your maternal side. They are passed through the egg. No paternal mitochondria survive the fertilization process. So if your paternal side has any mitochondrial issues, they won't be passed down from the father. The mitochondria DNA consists of 37 genes, 13 proteins that make up the mitochondrial respiratory chain so that it can convert nutrients to energy, 22 mitochondria RNAs. They are required for deciphering genetic code accurately, as well as stabilizing the mitochondria RNA. 2 mitochondria rRNAs and these are found on the mitochondria DNA. It's a non-coding RNA, which is primary component of ribosomes, essential to all cells. Our RNA is a ribozyme which carries out protein synthesis. There is also a small stretch of DNA that doesn't code for any protein. This is involved in regulating mitochondrial DNA replication, and it also contains the start site for replication and transcription, which basically means it's copying itself. A single mitochondrion only uses 3% of its genetic makeup to produce energy for the cell. As you can see by its genetic makeup that we just saw, there's a whole lot more to it. So you can imagine it has far more roles than just cellular respiration and making energy. They are also responsible for maintaining glutathione levels, signaling cell reproduction, activating cell apoptosis, which is cell death, supporting cell metabolism, regulating major metabolic functions in the body, stress response, calcium homeostasis, heat production, stem cell regulation, protect and maintains the DNA, metabolic flexibility, intercellular communication, biogenesis of heme, lipid, carb, and amino acid metabolism. And when they get damaged, it signals in the innate immune system, which are your mast cells, causing immune response and inflammation. It can also generate oxidative free radicals, which is not good for us. The mitochondria have a host of responsibilities and jobs in order to keep you healthy. Interruption, corruption of these processes can cause systemic effects that include immune function, cell development and growth, amongst others. So it's easy to see when mitochondria gets damaged or goes wrong. It opens the door to illness, worsening symptoms, and serious disease. In recent times, we've seen a rapid increase in reported toxic effects of drugs, pollutants, chemical and non-chemical stressors. Non-chemical stressors are your emotions, but also remember those mirror neurons as well. So let's take a look at what all can damage mitochondria. These all include drugs, both street and pharmaceutical, pollutants, allergens, certain genetic differences, dead virus vaccinations, poor diet, lack of exercise, age, chemical overload, non-chemical stressors, oxidative stress, heavy metals, environmental toxins, bug stings, pesticides, chemicals, plastics. These also include synthetic fibers in your clothing, linens, etc. Cigarette smoke, glyphosate, fluoridated unfiltered water, fluoride in toothpaste, viruses, both dead and alive, bacteria, fungi, parasites, dental cavitations, mycotoxins, that's those who are sensitive to mold, Lyme and co-infections, SIBO and dysbiosis, blood sugar dysregulation, overeating, undereating, food intolerances and sensitivities, blue light, EMF, and dirty electricity, unresolved psychological stress and trauma, vaccinations due to heavy metals in them. There has been a steep rise in the occurrence of chronic illness in the population, and receiving a definitive diagnosis is getting harder and harder because it mimics so many illnesses. Because it can mimic so many diseases, often patients are treated with courses of drugs. However, more drugs isn't exactly the answer to the problem, and it can actually cause further problems and health concerns down the road. Here's a list of drugs that can also affect mitochondria. And I'm sure by now, with all the scientific, medical, and advancement of pharmaceuticals, this list has grown. You can also find this in the written literature where I have posted the charts. When mitochondria and our mitochondrial DNA become damaged, it can no longer repair itself. It will implement either apoptosis, which is cell death, or it could wind up continuing to divide. When you reach 50 to 60% mitochondrial damage, you're going to feel stiffer, feel those old injuries more, and have increased sensitivities. When you reach 60 to 90% mitochondrial damage, this is where you're going to start having muscle issues and neurodegeneration. Inherited Mitochondrial DNA mutations are generally functionally recessive until you reach a certain level or threshold of damage. But as you can see, when there is enough mitochondrial damage, you're going to start having one or more of these symptoms. So let's take a closer look at the different stages of mitochondrial damage. Stage 1. This is something we all face all the time. When we get sick with something like the flu, for example, we basically just rest. Fighting the flu virus is the only thing the body has to do because we are resting and not using up any additional resources in order for the body to fight the virus. Once the flu is gone, you're up and about and back to normal. The danger, which was the flu, was eliminated. The anti-inflammatory and regenerative pathways are activated and reduce the cell danger to the mitochondria. So in stage 1, there is nothing else to do but eliminate the threat, and rest was all that was needed. Stage 2. Stage 2 is a little different. The cells were never designed to handle continuous stressors, toxins, etc. When this happens, the body starts to prioritize. Think of it as a self-preservation measure. We all do it naturally to protect ourselves from certain stressors or dangers, and our bodies do the exact same thing. However, when the body starts to prioritize because of the constant bombardment of chemicals, toxins, sensitivities, virus, etc., it also starts making metabolic changes. When it starts making these changes, as stated earlier, it mimics many diagnoses. Some of the metabolic changes are mast cell issues, further methylation issues, histamine intolerance, pyroles, and this is a stress disorder, and it also changes your mood, adrenal issues, which also means high cortisol, dysbiosis, which is a microbial gut imbalance, and gout, which is uric acid imbalance. This particular stage is where we find ourselves feeling all the symptoms but cannot get a clear diagnosis, and we do not fit into any definition of a particular disorder. That's when most of us are addressing the symptoms but haven't found the root cause. Stage 3. This is when the mitochondria start becoming pretty damaged due to the prolonged and chronic stress to the body. The nutritional resources become depleted because they lost their ability to adapt. This is where you usually notice that you've made improvements and gotten most of your quality of life back, but then something happens and it seems to worsen the overall symptoms. I call it the plateau effect. The easiest way to tell if you're in stage 3, for example, after you've healed whatever threat to your body had to deal with, say like the flu or a particularly rough allergy season, and you healed after the threat was eliminated, but it bumped you up to another level of progression of your chronic illness, i.e. another permanent-like symptom. Another example of stage 3 is when you've done very little, like only taken a shower and that was it, but your body acts like it ran a marathon and you're down for a few days. But you heal and recover, and soon you're taking showers again without a problem. Stage 4. This happens when you've addressed every single item in the cycle of illness. This means you're eating a diet with 9 cups of fruits and vegetables a day, exercising if possible, even if it just means you're stretching from bed. You've eliminated your stress as much as possible and made peace with it, and you've become stuck and cannot reverse the symptoms after you've addressed all the toxins and detoxed. Of course, this also depends on genetics, age, and children are most susceptible, genotype, prolonged exposure that damaged your DNA, and the number, severity, and type of toxins you've been exposed to. This is where you may notice you made all this progress. Then we're exposed to a certain toxin and it took you right back down and you seem stuck and cannot get back to where you were before the exposure, illness, toxin, or stressor. Prime example, that shower scenario we mentioned earlier, where you take a shower and your body acts like it's running a marathon. Even if you're eating right, trying to get back to exercising regularly, your body continues to act like it's running a marathon. Now, we're not talking about just trying for a week or two. You've been at it religiously for a few months and have made very little to no improvement. At this stage, you're noticing significant muscle and neurodegeneration. There is some testing available to determine the cell damage stage you're in, but not for mitochondria. As of yet, they are still cost prohibitive and not reliable. It may have to be determined using cell damage tests and functional methods. If you are in any of these stages, especially stage 4, and you're thinking about using more drugs to treat it, you may want to skip them and try a natural approach first, as adding more drugs to the system can further complicate things, especially if you have MTHFR or methylation impairments. But talk to your doctor and see what you can and cannot do. We need to restore our bodies to their natural healthy balance, or homeostasis, and start taking care of our mitochondria and our overall health, because everything is so intricately tied together. So let's look at the steps we need to take in order to heal, restore, and grow new mitochondria. Step 1. Reduce the toxins and detox. First and foremost, it's about reducing the sources that are threats or stresses to our body. Until we eliminate or reduce them, our bodies cannot restore itself back to homeostasis. If we don't detox and eliminate those sources, we will accrue additional damage to the mitochondria. For some reason, when it comes to treatment options, this step is the most overlooked option, and yet one of the most important ones to take. This is going to require a lot of willpower and determination to accomplish. But once you do it, it can make a pretty significant difference in how you feel. It's important to find out what is stressing the body and what treatment protocols will prevent further stress and cause further stress. Try to go as natural as possible, as this is the best option. The reason for this is because many medications are scientifically proven to cause mitochondrial damage. It's not possible to avoid all toxins, but you need to detox in order to keep or improve your health. Do your best to stay away from the things you can control and know that will affect you. Don't get discouraged if you're having difficulty doing this. This can be a tricky step, but you'll learn which ones are triggering you via trial and error. Your doctor can also help you with this after some blood panels identifying your toxicities. Also, you don't want to overlook your emotional toxins as well. Emotional stressors can be just as damaging and may need detoxing or healing. This has to deal with your stress, traumas, mindfulness, and being very careful what you watch, read, and think about. The mirror neurons are directly tied into your nervous system, and they can't tell the difference between what you're watching, reading, or thinking. And this causes your body to react as if it's really happening to you in real time. And as we have already learned, stress indirectly causes quite a lot of damage to the body and your mitochondria. Step 2. Exercise. This step is very important because it helps grow new mitochondria. It also burns off that toxic white adipose tissue. That's that harmful belly fat we learned in the previous video that causes more inflammation in your body as well as damage and has very little mitochondria or health benefits. Exercise will help you lose excess weight and metabolize that white adipose tissue into healthy brown adipose tissue that is filled with mitochondria. Because muscle is one of the main tissues of the body that requires a lot of mitochondria due to its energy requirements, you'll also want to build muscle to increase your mitochondria. There's some confusion as to whether or not you want to build lean or bulky muscles. However, in my opinion, I'd stick with lean muscle as that requires less force to build them. Using too much force can further damage and disrupt the aerobic processes within the mitochondria. There's this whole aerobic and anaerobic process, and there's this whole gigantic mathematical equation to figure this out. But These processes can get all goofed up if you work out too hard that causes further issues. And seeing that this can happen even in perfectly healthy people, it's best if you don't overdo it. We're trying to heal, not make things worse. This step requires what I call the Goldilocks effect, because it's a fine line you have to walk, and it can be difficult to figure out where that line is. Not to mention, it can change from day to day. You don't want to stress the body more and cause more damage, but at the same time, exercise helps you to grow new mitochondria that will help you to heal, and it also helps your body to detox faster. Start with something simple, like just walking. Yoga, which also helps mindfulness and muscle building. Tai Chi or Qigong, or even just stretching exercises if you're in bed or chair-bound. Start slowly and work your way up. Every little bit helps. If your body gets inundated with toxins again, like with surgery, virus, or infection, etc., you will need to let your body prioritize and handle the stresses first, especially if you're in the later stages of mitochondrial damage. So rest. Step 3. Nutrition. You've heard me say elimination doesn't heal, only nutrition does. As we learned earlier, the mitochondria need that nutrition to digest it and spit it out as ATP, or energy for your body. Without that energy, it becomes a stress on the body. It can carry on with nutritional deficiency for a little while, but it will eventually start to cause issues in the body and damage to the mitochondria. Let's take a look at the standard American diet. What you see here is a typical Western diet. This is their weekly grocery shopping trip to feed the family. In this picture, I see predominantly boxed, bottled, canned, or fast food with very little to no fresh fruits and vegetables for daily consumption. Your body needs those fruits and vegetables in order to keep you healthy. The standard American diet is high in inflammation, which damages cells, and is nutritionally deficient. We are the most fed and undernourished nation. It's not the greatest picture. You can see here just how undernourished we are. We don't even meet the minimum daily requirements in order to keep us healthy. 80% of Americans are omega-3 deficient. Iodine is about 75% deficiency, and it's crucial for helping remove toxins, and it lowers prostate and breast cancer. As you can see, we have some heavy deficiencies in our diet. These processed foods, as shown above, will not help you to heal your mitochondria and only further contribute to your demise. We need 9 cups of healthy fruits and vegetables per day, and that is very easy to achieve, especially if you're making smoothies or juicing. Your mitochondria is completely dependent on the nutrients you take in, so if you're not getting proper nutrition, it's a matter of when, not if, that it will start to be significantly affected. You cannot live without your mitochondria, so it's important that you take good care of them. Your 9 cups should consist of 3 cups green leaves, 3 cups sulfur vegetables, and 3 cups rich color. The reason you want sulfur foods is because they're needed for mitochondria to survive. They support the brain, mitochondria, and also support toxin removal. The liver and kidney need it to remove toxins from the bloodstream. When it comes to leafy greens, kale is by far the most nutritious plant on earth. So your sulfur foods contain leafy greens and the cabbage family. And the cabbage family are things like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kohlrabi, collards, kale, rutabaga, turnips, etc. It also includes onions, garlic, mushrooms, leeks, green onions, and asparagus. You're also going to want fresh, grass-fed meat. The other thing you're going to want is fresh, grass-fed organ meat. Mitochondria absolutely love fresh organ meat, especially things like liver, etc. Now, I know not everyone can tolerate all of these items, so get what you can and choose what works for you. The following is to teach you what is needed to optimize performance, but I understand everyone has different tolerances. Also, to heal mitochondria, you're going to want certain vitamins, minerals, and enzymes. B vitamins. Various B vitamins have been shown to play a critical role in mitochondria function, such as biotin and vitamin B12. B vitamins are highly specialized antioxidants and increase the synthesis of other strong antioxidants, such as glutathione. Other important B vitamins are B1, B2, B6, niacin, folic acid, and pantothenic acid. CoQ10. CoQ10 is so important because your body cannot make it. Coenzyme Q10 is not only an antioxidant, but it's also an essential component to the electron transport chain within the mitochondria. In other words, without CoQ10, there is no synthesis of ATP and therefore a defected mitochondrion. The recommended dose for this is 100 milligrams 1 time per day, and you can work your way up to 300 milligrams, but start slow to reduce a sort of shock to the mitochondria. Vitamin E is an antioxidant and helps protect mitochondria from oxidative stress. It does this by preventing electron leakage in the electron transport chain. The recommended dose for this is 500 milligrams twice a day. Alpha-lipoic acid, ALA, has been especially shown to improve mitochondrial dysfunction in the brain and can improve cognitive ability. It also improves ATP function. The recommended dose for this is 200 milligrams twice a day. Acetyl L-carnitine. It restores age-related decrease in mitochondria content and function and reverses the defective reaction of aged mitochondria and improves oxidation. The recommended dose is 500 milligrams twice a day. Resveratrol. It improves mitochondria located in the antioxidant enzymes and reduces oxidants. It triggers mitochondria production and improves energy production. The recommended dose for this is 150 milligrams 1 time per day. Acetylcysteine, or NAC. The key role of NAC is to increase intercellular glutathione, which is then pumped into the mitochondria. This glutathione is critical for protection of mitochondria from oxidative damage. The recommended dose is 500 milligrams twice a day. Antioxidants. Antioxidants are important for mitochondria and it protects the mitochondria from oxidative stress. Elderberry is really high in antioxidants and it also helps with histamine. Now, I know not everyone can tolerate these items, but get whatever nutrition you can and choose what works best for you. Nutrition and exercise is essential for healing mitochondria. But I put together some other methods of trying to heal mitochondria that are a little less known and not always considered by mainstream medicine. There is evidence that cold therapy improves mitochondrial health through a process known as mitochondrial biogenesis. But it also helps reduce swelling and inflammation, stimulates new mitochondrial growth, that's your biogenesis right there, pain relief, strengthens the immune system, cleanses the circulatory system, improves blood circulation, detoxes organs and supplies fresh blood, reduces blood pressure, strengthens the nervous system and makes it more resilient to stress as well, helps with depression, helps lose weight, it is energizing, and increases brown adipose tissue and reduces toxic white adipose tissue. The only word of the wise here is to please stay away from the cryo-cold therapy, as this is too cold and can cause further damage. Red light therapy and far infrared. These are designed to enhance cellular function. It can help reduce inflammation, improve blood flow, and enhance the performance of energy-making mitochondria within the cell. Red light therapy can increase the number of mitochondria and also boost their function in the cell. It's often used by cancer patients to combat the effects of chemo. It improves cell growth, it improves wound healing, improves mitochondrial function, promotes new mitochondrial growth, lowers inflammation, helps with lymphatic drainage, helps muscle recovery, joint pain, it boosts collagen, helps with the quality of sleep, and can help with some brain issues like cognitive, learning, etc. from toxin exposure, to include the ones from food. However, these can get quite expensive. So an alternative is to look at a local chiropractor or natural health office. Or you can call around to local tanning salons to see if they have one available. Pulsed electromagnetic field, or PEMF. PEMF produces and brings a healthy energy charge into the interior of the cell behind the cell membrane that raises cellular energy so that the cell can heal itself faster. It can charge the interior parts of the cell, including the nucleus and the mitochondria. It helps with cellular regeneration, optimizes mitochondrial function, increases bone density and repair, helps aid in injury recovery, joint and tissue pain, increases oxygen absorption, improves sleep and insomnia, heavy metal detoxification, enhances circulation, increased energy and vitality, improves metabolism, reduces swelling and inflammation, improves immune function, faster injury recovery. It is FDA approved for depression, and it reduces stress. These can get pretty pricey as well, but they work. The reason I know this is because NASA uses them. In the early space program, our astronauts and Russian cosmonauts were getting really sick during their stay in outer space. NASA started studying why this was happening, and it took them several years to figure it out. They concluded that while the men were in space, they were suffering because the lack of being in Earth's magnetic field was draining their energy, their aka mito batteries, and it was making them sick. Remember, without mitochondria or them functioning properly, you can't live. Since the discovery, countries with the space program have equipped the shuttles, space capsules, and even the spacesuits with pulsating magnetic field generators to stimulate Earth's magnetic field. Since they have done this, our astronauts no longer have the issues or lack of energy or getting sick while in outer space. So, you know if it's good enough for NASA, you know it works. So if you're facing the same types of problems, you may want to consider using Pimp Device, since studies have shown that PEMF therapy promotes and maintains general cellular health and function. Intermittent fasting, or the 7-day water diet. This one is a godsend because you don't have to buy any fancy equipment, and it works. When the body is fasting or doing a 7-day water fast, malfunctioning and damaged mitochondria get taken out with basically the trash. This is highly important because it allows the mitochondria to clean out the waste and damaged debris within the mitochondria. But it doesn't just take out the trash from the mitochondria, it starts taking out all the trash, like a spring cleaning for your body. And doing so has many health benefits. It improves insulin sensitivity, lowers heart rate and blood pressure, lowers cholesterol, improves immune system, increased autophagy, joint and tissue pain, sustainable fat loss, which is the white adipose tissue. It reduces pain, and boy does it. Improved sleep and mental health, increased brain cognitive functions, improves metabolism. Water fast can actually reset your metabolism, reduces swelling and inflammation, improves immune function, reduces stress and anxiety, improves genetic repair, helps with chronic illness, and it's beneficial for heart health, good for your brain, and can help prevent Alzheimer's, and may extend your lifespan, helping you to live longer. Your mitochondria are essential for life and the health of you and your body. Exposing your body to environmental stressors like allergens, the ones that you can control, contaminated food, water, air, mycotoxins, toxic beauty products, smoking, drinking, etc., and depriving your body of essential nutrients that you couldn't possibly get enough of if you're eating the standard American diet, and skipping fresh fruits and vegetables are lifestyle risk factors that you can easily fix. We learned today all the risk factors that will affect your mitochondria and the steps we need to take in order to heal them. If we don't take care of our mitochondria, it will increase our risk for serious illness and even cancer. If not treated, it can create a vicious cycle and your health will continue to decline. It's as simple as starting to eat more fruits and vegetables and getting more consistent exercise. The more you improve your mitochondria, the more you improve your sensitivities. You want to aim for a total of 9 cups per day, which is extremely easy to accomplish, especially if you're drinking smoothies. Make sure they're organic, fresh, and come from a grocery store, farmer's market, co-op, or Whole Foods type market. Stay away from the big box store produce. It is not worth your health. Yes, this is more expensive, but ask yourself this: spending the money to buy healthy organic produce or pay for it later in expensive medical bills and declined health? Don't ask yourself why organic food is so expensive. Ask yourself, why is the other food so cheap? Promote a healthier, more vibrant tomorrow by taking the necessary steps to reduce mitochondrial damage.